Welcome back to another episode.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Hey, welcome back to let's try again.
Another episode.
1, 2,
My goodness.
3. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Views from the 66 podcast. So we got a new episode for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna talk about a story that we have heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this pastor's wife who got a BBL, right, in the past. So for those who don't know what a BBL is, it's basically it's a cosmetic surgery to enhance your posterior, basically, right?
Brazilian butt lift.
Butt lift.
That's what it is, right? So,
well, another thing before disclaimer though, because we're not trying to dog her out. She's talked about this openly.
Yeah.
We just want to bring awareness, so we're not talking bad about her.
Very true.
Yeah.
Just we want to be able to learn from the story, go through her mindset, why she did it, and just see if we can edify you guys with this conversation. But basically, the story goes like this. So, she, I'll say that she flew to, I don't know which state it was, but
I think she flew out of the country.
Was it out of the country?
She flew to the Kardashians' doctor, wherever the Kardashians' doctor was.
Right, wherever the Kardashians' doctor was, she flew to the doctor, and she basically spent a Honda Accord. I think that was her terminology.
Yeah, a nice Honda Accord.
A nice Honda Accord on her BBL.
Mm-hmm.
So she was actually told by the doctor before she actually got the surgery that because she really enjoyed working out and taking care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back a little bit.
Okay, let's go back.
Because she's on the plane. And
yes.
She is convicted, and the Holy Spirit is telling her no.
Mm-hmm.
And she said the Lord said to her that, what was it, along the lines of,
I did this,
her posterior looks the way it looks to humble her, right?
Yeah.
And she said, well, I'm going to have that and be humble.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went on, and kept on going.
She still did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, basically she was told beforehand by the doctor that she would need to
not work out,
let loose a little bit so that she can actually have some fat for them to work with, because what the surgery was going to do, there's different types that you can get, but her specific surgery was they're going to take her stomach fat, if I'm not mistaken, or just and basically place it on her posterior, right? So that's what she was told. So she went ahead and did that. She let go, and she got the surgery, right? She flew and got the surgery, and eventually she lost the BBL
because she would work out.
Because she went back
working out.
So actually, so you had to continually live she had to continually let go of herself, basically, if she wanted to keep up the appearances, right?
And ultimately, it was a waste of time
and money.
Yeah.
And I'll highlight again that she had children. I think it's 2. She had children. She was married, right? Like I said before at the beginning, she's a pastor's wife.
Yeah.
Right. And basically, she told the story on Lecrae's YouTube channel. He had an interview with her, and she basically broke it down. She was very candid. And I think she even wrote a book about this whole story.
Killing Comparison. I think that's what it's called.
Right. So, let's talk about it, guys. So what could we learn from it? Her mindset and I guess values, So I would say that for me, one of the first things that comes up to me is comparison, right? Because I didn't mention this in the story, but she's a Black woman, and she said that she felt inadequate, basically, because she knows the cultural, I guess, perception of Black women
is that they're curvy and
right, and she felt like she
did not fit
that standard, right? So she felt lesser as a person, and she compared herself to her parents. She said one parent has the features that she wanted, and another parent had those features in another area. And it's like she got the quote unquote bad qualities from both parents.
Right.
So comparison basically is the first thing that comes to my mind is this idea that we we find our worth basically in other
in
people
our other
and
people and how we look.
And the
right.
environment that you were raised in.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
And this reminds me of every culture, every
Mm-hmm.
honestly every season. Every couple of years. Honestly, we go through beauty phases where there's some things highlighted and in some seasons and some things are disregarded. Like even if you look at men
Mm-hmm.
and what men choose to work out on and build their body, there's a different body type for men if you look back through history about what is attractive, right? Nowadays you might want large pectorals and arms and things like that, maybe strong calves, but back then there was different things emphasized, right? So there's different beauty standards basically.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes, and going back to the environment thing, there's different beauty standards in your environment. So basically, like if you grew up in a specific culture where everybody's skinny and it's good to have a flat butt. They're gonna be like, oh, I want a flat butt too.
yeah,
So
everybody's
depending
taking
on
them out now.
Yeah, if you were the rare person who had a big posterior, you were like, oh
yeah,
my goodness, I'm so insecure
Yeah.
because I'm not like everybody else.
yes, yep,
And then just go around with black people and they're like, yeah, you fit in with us.
yeah. See, it's like we're never satisfied. We're always infatuated with the other. That's everything that we don't have, which
Yeah.
is ultimately coveting what other people have, which we're not supposed to do,
Yeah.
according to the Bible.
Yeah.
I'll say something because even though like we're black, right? Like I
Mhm.
remember growing up and
Wait, we're black? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think so. But growing up, even though being raised in a black household, if I was like gaining weight, right,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like okay, let's say okay, my posterior is getting big, there would be comments made like, oh, like because of that,
Mm-hmm.
and people would think, oh, it's the right place. It's like, oh, you need to, oh, maybe you need to watch yourself or something, and it's just that. So even that, it's like I just because of how I was raised, like okay, if everything else is the same, but that just gets so big, it's like ooh, like oh no, and even just thinking, when people are obsessed with it, I've heard men say this. So women, if you're insecure and you're thinking, you want to do this to yourself. Come on, the real and men of God, they don't like that stuff. They
Yeah.
really don't like that stuff. And it's an exit. It's an exit. You know what comes out of there. So it's gonna be hard to clean, like all that stuff. Just go, my.
Yeah, and then there are complications just from a completely practical,
Yes.
Of
pragmatic
course,
place.
it's surgery. Yes.
It's surgery, right? You
It's
guys,
surgery, yeah.
you never want to open up your body unless you really have to, because oftentimes there are many complications that come with it. Especially with cosmetic surgery, man. Oh, you got to be careful, man. Oh, I don't know if she had any adverse side effects, but she looks fine today. So thank God.
Yeah. Oh, really?
She did say that it was hard for her to sit down for a bit.
Oh, that's after the surgery.
After the surgery, yeah.
Remember, it was DC Unfly's baby mother who died because of plastic surgery.
Oh,
Wow.
yes.
A complication after she had something done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a white woman.
DC
It's
Unfly's baby
nothing.
mama?
Yeah, it's nothing to play about. Whatever woman, baby mother, but
whatever,
not legally married. Whatever. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. See.
It's nothing to play about, y'all.
Yeah.
And y'all, we are created in the image of God. He knitted us in our mother's wombs. He did not make a mistake when he made you.
Yeah. It almost feels like when you do have those surgeries, whether you're transgender or just doing something that's altering your body or getting lip filler or Botox, whatever, it's almost like you're telling God you made a mistake on this part. Like, this wasn't good enough when you did this. He literally says in, I think it's Psalm 136 or 138, that says he knitted us in our mother's womb. So he's the one who created us the way that we look like. And of course because our bodies are sinful, we tamper with it in a way where we don't eat as healthy or we don't take care of ourselves. But still, he made us when we came out of that womb, and our DNA and our features developed and evolved to become who we are now. He did not make a mistake in that sense at all. And so when you're doing something like that, like messing up your behind, like, it's just basically telling God you made a mistake.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. This reminds me of 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 6 through 7. So this is Samuel about to anoint the next king of Israel. And this is while Saul's currently king. So this is the second king of Israel. So that's the context. And starting with verse 6. When they came, he looked on Eliab and thought, surely. And by the way, Eliab is one of Jesse's sons, right? So he looked on Eliab and thought, surely the Lord's anointed is before me. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. This reminds me of, let me say this. What I think what we can learn from this is the fact that there are more important things, basically.
Yeah.
That we need to be worrying about. And I think when we obsess with beauty, actually we didn't bring that verse up too.
What about
Psalms?
Proverbs. Yeah, Proverbs 31:30. Right?
Yeah,
Charm is.
Let me pull that one up. Charm is deceptive, beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised, right? That's what it says.
Or yeah, beauty is fleeting.
Beauty is fleeting, right? That these ideas that these things that we search after in this world, a lot of these things are vanity, and I think a good book to remind you of what really is important is the book of Ecclesiastes. It's filled with wisdom and really just shows you the uselessness of pursuing anything outside of living for God, honestly. But going back to the Samuel passage, we oftentimes look at the outward appearance just like Samuel, but we forget to clean up the inward being, basically, is what I'm saying. And this is what God, and I think ultimately it shows who we really desire to please.
Yeah.
Do we desire to, because it's easy to make yourself beautiful, at least on the outside, right? It's much harder to do the heart work and let Christ transform you. I'm reminded of also 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 3. Do not let your adorning be external, the braiding of hair and the putting on of gold jewelry, or the clothing you wear, but let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious.
Yeah, I was just gonna say God doesn't care if you have a big butt.
Come on.
He doesn't care if you have crooked teeth. He doesn't care about none of that stuff. He cares about your heart ultimately. And if he knows, because it's the root of this lady's issue and most of the people's issues out there is their heart. The root of their heart is what causes them to do these things. And so if we go back to the heart, we check it, and we walk by the Spirit, then those issues would not be something that we should be struggling with at all.
It won't bring you to the point of surgery.
Yeah, the point of surgery, that's crazy.
And I'll say this, I think it's idolatry. I think it's idolatry when we elevate our external appearance to this level, when we have to risk our health and opening up our body and surgically alter the way that we were created in order to make ourselves look more appealing. And you have to check your motive. Sometimes we could be doing it for ourselves, to make ourselves look good in our own eyes, or sometimes we could even be doing it to appease other people because we want the attention of other people, and we want them to see us in a high value way, in a greater way. But yeah, I'll go back to idolatry. I definitely think that it sounds very idolatrous when we elevate this to that point. And I'll even go to the Transformer movement. I definitely think that one of the motivations behind those who actually go forth and actually do the surgery and actually alter their body to look like a different gender, I think one of the motivations is because they idolize that other gender.
Oh, yeah, idolizing, yeah.
Something that they don't have.
Something that they don't have.
Yeah.
It's the idea that we all want what we don't have. You know, you have white people trying to get a tan. You know, you got people in, you know, we spoke to.
Yes, black people.
Right.
Putting on lotion to bleach the skin.
Right. We had a nice conversation with our friends. Yes. Our friends one time about them going to China and as on a missionary trip, and over there the Chinese they had to be careful which lotion that they got, because the Chinese have lotion that they put on to bleach their skin, you know. And the Chinese, I mean, they pretty light already, you know. So that's
a little bit different though, because you would think, oh, they would probably want to get tanner, but no, they want to stay white. They want to get whiter,
trying to get that vampire white.
Yeah. Right. It's the idea though that we often we find beauty in everything that we are not. You know, we desire something else that's not us.
Because we're discontent. That's really it. The art of contentment. We're not content with who we are, what we are,
and being easily swayed, because it's not an issue when it's like, okay, it's an insecurity. A thought comes and you rebuke it. You give it to the Lord, and it's like, Lord, I know I'm perfectly created in your image. You know, you beautifully made me. It might be more of a daily battle for some than others, but don't stop just because it's something you struggle with, you know. You don't succumb to it, and it's like, okay, well, this won't stop, and I can't stop feeling this way, so I need to have surgery.
Right. But ultimately, what does God say? I think you have to ask yourself that question. When you're unsure about making a decision if you're going to do something surgically, you should ask, what does God say about it? Pray about it. What does God say about it? And
when he gives you the answer, obey.
Yes, because that lady did not obey. I mean, ultimately, God made a good thing out of it. She's telling people how to kill comparison and telling her story.
Yeah,
but she could have avoided. She could have avoided the hurt and pain and the struggle that she had to personally go through herself, because she didn't want to listen to the Lord. And the discipline of the Lord is very loving, but it could be very hard to be disciplined by the Lord and to change your mind and your heart and renew your mind about things.
Yeah. You know, I mean, contentment is so important, you know, and that's what it comes down to. You know, Paul speaks in Philippians 4 talking about godliness with contentment is great gain. You know, and how he has learned in every situation to be content where he is. No, I'm sorry. The godliness with contentment is great gain is in Timothy, but Paul has learned to be content in any situation in Philippians 4. I combine the passages. But I do want to touch on this as well, that to look at a remedy for this, you know, how you see your body and you might
don't like what you
not
see.
Be satisfied, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say this too, that we do live in a sin-cursed world, so it's not like these bodies that we have, there are things wrong with them, right? So that's understandable. Like there's dwarfs. There are people that come out, they might not have their appendages intact. You know, we have a family member who has a rare disease that made their bones extremely brittle. You know, so there are definitely things. There are definitely malfunctions. You know, to say, but I just want to say this. You know, to bring it back to a resolution that as Christians we have a hope. You know.
Yes.
Jesus says in John 11:25, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. You know, if you get into the mindset of one that does not believe in God, right? Of one who does not accept Jesus as the Lord and Savior, you can imagine that this is it. This is all that they have. You know, if you're a woman and you know you're in your 40s, I mean you're pushing it, right? That time for you to have kids it's almost gone. You know, you might look in the mirror and you don't look like your old pictures before. You know, or if you're a man and you're working out, you realize you're in your 40s, it's harder for you to put on the weight, right? You realize that you're not at your prime anymore. You know, it's downhill, honestly. Once you reach 25 and your brain's developed, it's just downhill. Your body is just done, and you're getting ready to die. It's just a slow death after that, honestly.
Oh yeah, you feel it?
Yeah.
I feel it. You know, And it's crazy. But, as a believer, we have this hope that God will resurrect us and he will give us a new body that will never die, and it will be restored and it will be glorified.
Yes.
We're not going to have a body with the same weakness. What has been sown in weakness will be raised in strength, as the scripture said.
Mm.
What was sown in dishonor will be raised in glory, or something to the effect of that. But that's why I just want to, for the resolution, just to, this is the hope of the Christian faith, that life will persist.
Yeah, and Romans 6 talks about if we have been united with Christ, we will certainly be resurrected. Wait, how does the verse go? It goes, for if we have been united with Christ in a death like his, we shall certainly be united with Christ in a resurrection like his. And so we have a promise. We literally have a promise that, because in the resurrection we have a promise that our bodies will be made new. Like, yes, we're new here from our old self to our new self, becoming Christians, but this is like the ultimate newness. The perfect.
No more sickness, no more pain in your body, no more all of those things that we deal with our bodies here on this earth. No. I want to bring up 2 Proverbs, because you're talking about just aging and everything. And some people are scared of that, and that's why they do go to plastic surgery.
Yes.
Proverbs 16:31, gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. And then Proverbs 20:29, the glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. So even just something as simple as that, and people, it's like, oh, you cover your gray, oh, you sinner. And it's not that. It's something to be proud of. It's not something to be ashamed of. And the Lord is telling us this.
That reminded me of like hippies. And how hippies, like, oh, they grow out their hair and they're just go with the flow type of people.
All natural.
That's literally how they are. They like the age. They like to age. They're okay with that.
Might not even help the process too.
So we need to be like that sometimes. Just let our body breathe, keep it healthy, keep it up, and just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Less is more.
Yeah.
And I just want to, going back to the story of the pastor's wife, the contradiction that she's in. I'm trying to think of the right word, but it's the idea that in order for her to look the way that she wants to look, she has to hurt her body. She had to actually let go of herself, gain weight, because she would work out. She would try to eat, right, and things like that. So she would actually have to lose herself in order to get this appearance. So we
the sacrifice,
the sacrifice that one would be willing to go through,
right,
to do that. And honestly, if she just took care of her body the regular way, your body can last a good bit if you just take care of it.
But it's not going to look the way she would want to, because that's what she said.
Let me bring up this verse, 1 John chapter 3, starting with verse 1. See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God. And so we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Beloved, we are God's children now, and what we will be has not yet appeared. But we know that when he appears, we shall be like him, because we shall see him as he is. And everyone who thus hopes in him purifies himself as he is pure. I just love that. I just want to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
We are his children now, and what we will be has not yet appeared. So we don't just going back to your statement about how we have life now or something, you said it. You
being
said
resurrected?
You said that we have like a foretaste right now or something.
Like we're new now.
Right.
We're made new now, but not ultimately.
Exactly. It will be fully manifested.
Yeah.
Consummated.
Yes.
When Christ appears.
Exactly.
So
remember the promise. That's what I would say. The promises of God when it comes to your body. First of all, our body's not our own. Our body is not our own.
And we treat it with.
Yeah, we treat it like it's ours, but it's not.
And when you get married, it's not your own still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is my body is the Lord's, and now my body is the Lord's, and my body is my spouse's.
Yeah. Anyways, Let us know what you guys think about this story. And if you guys struggled with like wanting to do something surgically to your body and why. And if you know anybody who's struggling with this, send them this video. Send them this video, this podcast, and let them have a listen. But yeah, we thank y'all for listening once again.
See you next time.
See you next time.